Welcome back, guys. In today's video we're going to carry over with Windows persistence techniques, how to maintain your access when you have compromised a Windows machine. So to just go back to what we have covered, as you can see, first we covered accounts tampering. In the second video we covered creating backdoors or backdooring existing executable files. In the third video we covered persistence by using Windows services. The fourth video we covered persistence with scheduled tasks, and today we will cover persistence using the most popular technique in backdooring Windows, which is startup. Startup is very common, and actually it's a loved way. All attackers like to use this technique, placing executables, scripts, backdoors in startup locations in Windows. So let's talk about that. So the first thing, or the first location where we can achieve persistence is by checking the startup folder. So every user on Windows has a startup folder where they can place executables, scripts, programs, games, whatsoever that they want to start when they log into Windows. So the location of that can be under C, users, okay? Specifically, it will be under app data. Okay, and all the way it's C unless you find until you find the startup word. So this is the location where we place executables or scripts so that they start when that specific user logs in. So it's C users underscore, here we have username, say it is John underscore, then we continue app data. So the app data folder in Windows is very dangerous folder because it can contain all sorts of malicious and benign programs or scripts or executables. So be sure if you are auditing a Windows workstation to check out the app data folder. And if you're looking to find persistence indications, you look at the startup location. So as an attacker, they would place the executable file or the payload under what? Under the startup. So what happens when that user restarts the machine, or when that user signs in and signs out and back in, the payload here will run. Okay. Now the next method or popular method is using the registry. Before we jump into registry, I said earlier, guys, that if you are an analyst, okay, or an incident responder, you can look at app data, specifically startup. But every payload placed at the startup here, it will actually appear in what's called the startup list. Startup. You can take a look at the startup list using the msconfig in Windows. So let's now talk about registry. So in registry, we can achieve persistence by placing the executables or the backdoor in one of these different locations. The first one is run once. So under registry, you have that key under HKLM, or it could be HKCU. So LM, it's for the older machine, CU for the current user. So under both these, you have that location, let's say under Microsoft here, and then Windows, and then you have current version, /run. The same path also contains run once. You would find this key here and this one under the machine and the current user. So if you are backdooring the whole machine, be sure to place the executable or the backdoor under run or run once, but check out the LM. But if you are placing the executable or the backdoor under specific user, make sure to use the current user here, the current user path. Okay, so that is run once. Now you can also check out or try to use the WinLog on. So WinLogon is also another popular place or alternative technique to automatically start programs on logon. Okay. So what happens here is that under WinLogon, you have two keys. The first one is user initialize, and the other one is shell. So to achieve persistence, you can either modify user initialize or shell, but you cannot delete them. Why? User initialize points to an executable called user initialize exe. So points to that executable. What's the purpose of that executable? The purpose of that executable is restoring the user profile preferences, desktop background, display settings, whatsoever. Now the shell here points to system shell. So basically by default shell equals to explorer. Okay. Now what we can do here, guys, if you want to use this one or this location to place your backdoor, you can actually use the comma. So what happens here is the Windows, when you first log in, it will execute user initialize, okay, to load your preferences, and then comma you can place here with payload. We will see that in a while how it works, but we cannot delete one of these. Okay, use a comma and then put the path to the payload. Okay, the last method is startup scripts. We mentioned that earlier, as you can see here, persistence. When we talked about creating backdoors, we mentioned something about startup scripts, because startup scripts are also form of backdoor. So you can actually, it doesn't have to be executable file. It can also be a script in PowerShell or Python or PHP, depending on the environment. So in startup scripts, guys, we can either place the script in the startup here, or we can use the registry. A more convenient method to stay stealthy, guys, is to use a registry always, because not all people are familiar with the registry. Even some IT administrators or junior IT people, some of them, they aren't even familiar with the registry. Can you imagine this? So placing the backdoor under the registry is actually more convenient than placing the backdoor under the Windows directory. Okay, so what do we do here? We can play with the startup scripts in the registry by checking out a location here or a key. Let's draw an arrow from here, since we don't have a place. So like that, yeah. So it's under, as you can see, HK, CU, the current user, and environment. You will find it there, and there we can place the payload. We will see that. We'll see that in a while in the practical scenario. All right, now let's jump to the virtual machine and jump to the attacker machine and demonstrate this in action. And check out up data. Okay. So now, as you can see, we are under the administrator user. So whatever backdoor we place under this path, it will be, or it will connect to our machine as the administrator. Okay. So we go back one directory, up data here. Okay. And we go to roaming, Microsoft, and then we look for Windows, start menu, programs, startup. Okay, so you place the executable here. Let's do that. Now we go back to the virtual machine, my attacker machine, open a new tab. Let's see if you have payloads. Okay, sudo msf venom. So that's okay. Let's make sure the IP address is correct. That is my IP. Alright, so 149, 124, everything looks fine. The port 455, and here we modify the extension to be exe or executable. Payload version 1, this is the first payload we create, and everything else is fine. Okay, so we go ahead and create the payload, split view, Python listener, And let's prepare PowerShell. We want to download the executable using PowerShell. So since I don't memorize commands, or actually I'm bad at memorizing commands, I will have to extract it from the nodes. So let's see. Let's use this command. Okay, the payload is ready now to be served. So here is the virtual machine, opening PowerShell. Okay, let's navigate now to up data. We want to download the payload to the exact location. So cd start yeah, I know guys, I forgot to make the font bigger. So let's magnify the font. So cd programs, cd startup, and we paste the command naming the payload v1, and here we add the port, checking out the IP address. Oops, what's this one? Yeah. Okay. Okay, download. PIR, and we have the payload. Back to the attacker machine, nclvb 4545, and let's execute the payload. Okay, what happened? Do we have... Oh, alright. So it's going to be like that. Payload v1. And as you can see, we received the shell, guys, under the administrator. So now let's go to C and retrieve your first flag. And this time we got the flag. Okay, that was the first flag. Now up to the next method of creating persistence through the startup. So this time we will start up the registry, guys. Okay, so we head to let's exit here first. Let's remove the payload. Clean up a bit, and here go to PC, make sure to clean up the work of the last task. Microsoft, Windows, start menu, programs. So we will delete this one. Okay, now let's open up registry and navigate to, say, as I told you guys, we can either use the local machine or the current user. So for the purpose of this video, we're going to use the local machine. So it's, as you can see, HK local machine, software, and go to Microsoft, scrolling all the way down to Windows. Finding if we have current version, run. Yeah, so we can either place the payload in run or run once. I'm going to select run here, going back to the attacker machine and creating the payload. So this time we will name it my backdoor. The reason for that is the only way to extract the flags is to use the same naming conventions in the task. Okay, and we're set. Create the payload, and our web server is ready to serve the payload to the machine. We're going to go back, PowerShell, have the command here over. Let's first cd to Windows, as we will place the payload here. So name the payload my backdoor. Okay, the last thing we will change is the IP address. And let's serve the payload to the machine. Okay, so the payload is ready now. Now we will check back the registry at run, highlight run, and create a new key. Okay, make it as string value, or let's make it expand string. Expandable, and under here let's name it my backdoor. Of course, it's very recommended if you change the name, but as again guys, we're doing a CTF, so you have to stick to the instructions. Right click, modify, and here we will put the path to the backdoor, okay, in order to execute it. And name it my backdoor. Okay. So what do we do now? We're going to log out or sign out. And here NCLVP. Let's see now if we log back in, we receive the shell or not. Connect. And we received it. cd flags and this is your flag. Answering the question now. Okay, so now we explored run once. Let's now explore the next place in the registry where we can backdoor a Windows machine. So going back to reg edit, let's do also some cleaning. System software, Microsoft, going to Windows. We just don't want any conflicts between the payloads. More than one payload is trying to connect to my machine. I don't want to avoid this. So we're going to current version and run. So delete this key and you're set. No need to delete the payload that we have created, okay? Okay, so the next place now is WinLogon. You can find this under the current machine, software, Microsoft Windows, but this time we will change Windows to Windows NT. So Microsoft, not Windows, it will be Windows NT. Checking out the current version, and hopefully we will find the WinLogon here. Okay, so WinLogon, under WinLogon, as you can see, we have the user initialize. This one, it's pointing to user initialized executable file, and we have the shell pointing to Explorer. So we have the freedom to either bug the shell or the user initialize. Okay, it's up to you guys. So let's choose now to bug the user initialize. All we have to do is to modify the key. So here it's executing the user initialize, and a comma is placed here to give you an indication that you can execute other commands. Okay, the other commands that we would like to execute is only one. It will be the payload. So space Windows my backer. Okay, and then we will click on OK, sign out, and then we will sign back in. Flag 12 on the way, let's see. And yes, cd c flags flag 12. I insist, go first. All right, the last flag now. The last flag now can be grabbed by checking out the third place in the registry where we can create persistence. So reg edit. So let's delete now the work or the mess, I'm gonna call it, the mess that we did. Okay, all right. Now the last one will be the log on scripts. You can find this under the current user. So current user is here, checking out the environment. Under the environment, let's see here, what do we have? Temp. All right, we should have something called the user initialize mpr log on script. So basically what happens here, guys, we can, if we control a key here, which is called the user initialize mpr log on script, we can control all the scripts that are loaded at the winlog on. But I cannot find it here for some reason. Let me check out the local machine. We don't have environment here. Users, environment. So if we don't have user initialize mpr log on script, we will have to create one. Okay, so we can right click and select expandable string value. So we name it user initialize, the short name for initialize, and then mpr log on script. I can right click and modify this. So what we will put here, we'll put the path to the payload. This is it. My backdoor. What's going to happen here, guys, is the log on scripts here controls what scripts are executed upon the log on. This time, if you don't see the key here, you have to create it. If it happens that there's already a key here or scripts to execute, all I have to do is to do it or put a comma here and place or write the path to the payload. The same way we did that with the user initialize. So let's now log out. The listener is running. Connect. And hopefully flag 13 is on the way. So it arrived. cd c flags flag 13, and you got it. Okay, guys, so this is it. Now, in the next video, which will be the last video, we will discuss the last of the persistence techniques in Windows. And after that video, you will have learned all of the Windows persistence techniques that you can use either in CTFs or in real life scenarios. Thank you for watching.